Celtics Talk podcast is presented by 24autogroup.com. New England gets more at 24.
What's up, everybody? Post-game pod coming at you. Celtics win 110-108 over the Toronto Raptors, and most excitingly, the preseason is over. Celtics finished 3-1. The Raptors pushed them kind of like way too close to overtime in two different games, but Xavier Tillman hits the game-winning floater. Didn't have that on my bingo card. In this one, and Celtics escape, even though the Raptors continue to try to just cause a million turnovers late in games and give the Celtics headaches. The headline, though, the big headline one, is Jaylen Brown's hamstring. So Jaylen Brown plays the first 7.5 minutes of this game, 7:09, and then you can see he's kind of going up the court and grabs at the back of his left hamstring. And so it just came up a little lame. Asked out of the game right afterward. I'm watching the highlight over here on my second monitor. And, essentially the team deemed him doubtful to return late in the first half, and he did not come back. After the game, Joe Mazzulla, well, here's your soundbite.
Joe, any update on Jaylen?
No, there is not one. I think he'll be okay. I just talked to him after. He said he'd be fine, but I didn't get a full update. I'm sorry.
I'm not sure it makes me feel any better. Joe sort of gave a non-update. If you talk to Jaylen and Jaylen thinks he's going to be fine, like every player thinks they're going to be fine. I think what it hammers home to me is sort of there's a thin margin for error this season, right? Like if Derek, if Peyton, if Jaylen Brown miss any sort of extended time while Jason Tatum is rehabbing, it becomes very difficult to maintain the level this team needs to play at and the contributions they need from those players. And so it's a little bit deflating that before the season even starts, we're dealing with potential injury news. Now, like, cross your fingers. You hope that maybe by the time we get to practice tomorrow, or maybe before the start of next week, we hear, like, it's fine, just a tweak. Jaylen's going to just, do everything he needs to do to be ready for opening night. If he's not, again, things get a little bit more complicated. It would put a damper on, what we're about to launch into, especially with the opportunity in front of Jaylen. So I hope it's just minor. I hope it's just an abundance of caution in the last preseason game. Regardless of the situation, they weren't going to put him back out there. It's something to monitor, though, and hopefully it doesn't turn out to be that big of a deal. On the more positive side, a lot of good contributions in this game. My next headline would probably be Lawnmower is the preseason MVP. I thought Josh Minott had a fantastic preseason. Not the hero tonight, and probably not even the guy that deserves most of the accolades. Like Keita finally kind of kicked it into a new gear and was great tonight. Ugo had his moments. Certainly X with an abundance of offense down the stretch, including the winner. Those are all positives for the team as they sort of start to figure out what this bench is going to look like. But I just think Minott differentiated himself with the way that he played throughout this preseason. Among the bench guys going into the year, you know what you're going to get. And there's going to be some rough moments. Still only 22. Maybe that shot falters at times and it looks a little rougher. But, defensively with the way that he can impact, blocking shots, rebounding, the activity, the energy level goes up. I just really feel confident with the way him and Boucher played. And maybe I expected it because Boucher is just such a veteran and won titles in two different spots or part of two different championship teams. So, but I really like what we saw from Minott and what he can be. Ugo's interesting. I think, hype trains roll after game one, comes back to earth maybe a little bit, but still doing good things when he's out there more often. The energy, the grit that he plays with, some of the heads-up moves. He had a spin move for a layup early in this game. So, if you start putting it together, I think, we start thinking about what is this rotation going to look like. And, assuming a full health, the lineup that we saw tonight is probably the lineup I would put out there for game one in terms of Peyton, Derek in the backcourt, and we know how good those guys are going to be. We saw it last season, seen it in small doses this preseason. Jaylen, and then you go Boucher and Kata up front. Solve a little bit of your rebounding woes. You have great energy on the floor at that point. I think there's some idea to, could you put Hauser at the 4 against some smaller lineups, play single big. Some of that would just really put some pressure on Kata to be sharp if he's the lone big. You could always go early sub and get Sam on the floor. And then you start looking at the second unit. Obviously Anthony Simons is going to get a lot of minutes for this team. I think Minot, Garza have distinguished themselves. And then everyone's kind of competing for it. And maybe Ugo is in there. Baylor Shireman, another kind of rough night. Just some miscues. I thought he tried to make up for it late with some hustle. Thought he had some better moments later in this game. Although one turnover that kind of let Toronto get back into it. But I just feel like, and we'll see what happens with Xavier Tillman. Like, I think he has really made a strong case for 12 pounds lighter, fits the style they want to play. He's still only 26, but he feels like a crafty veteran and eager to see how it plays itself out. Exactly how Joe elects to lean on it. I think they played like 11 or 12 guys in the first quarter of this game, and there's guys that are like Minot who have distinguished themselves, and there's guys that still got some work to do. I did like Jordan Walsh's energy. Stat line doesn't jump. Shireman's gotta kind of get things going. Interesting that the Celtics go 11 deep here. Don't go deep into the bench. Beyond, no third stringers tonight, no main guys that are going to end up in Maine. So we are a week away.
He's got them ready for more. More selection, more savings, more ways to win.
During the Drive for More savings event at Chrysler Jeep 24. Shoot to save more, up to $1,500 more. Plus, during the Drive Into Fall event, lease a new Jeep Grand Cherokee for just $285 a month. And get more for your trade with up to $2,400 over book value.
Family owned and operated. You'll save more at Chrysler Jeep 24.
New England gets more at Chrysler Jeep 24.
I do want to go a little lightning round. We're gonna have plenty of time to get ready. But a bunch of headlines today. Malcolm Brogdon retired. Kind of crazy that 2023 Sixth Man of the Year. We thought he was sort of the missing piece to what could have led them to a championship season after the falling short in 2022. His health never really allowed it, and especially the elbow injury that maybe conspired to start shortening his career. It's kind of just it ended poorly for Malcolm here, and obviously the trade rumors and but the Celtics ultimately got the pieces they needed to get that 24 title, but just jarring. I thought did not expect Malcolm Brogdon to be retiring. My buddy Nick Friedel at The Athletic had a story about Al Horford the other day, talking about the reasons he did not come back, and sort of just laid it out there, both the financials and the fact that he wasn't certain the Celtics were championship level. And hey, Al's earned that right. He did a lot of good things for this team. Was a huge part of getting this thing back on track when he came back for the second tour, and should be celebrated for all that he did. Look, I don't know if you can, in that moment, you can decide if Tatum's going to be back out there and how you feel about the team. Wish him well in Golden State. And if you're the Celtics, maybe find a little bit of motivation. And, okay, every little bit out there about how do you think this team is going to do. I don't think they're going to hold it against Al. Al's too good of a person. But it's something. R.J. Louis Jr. waived before this game. Celtics have an open two-way slot. We'll see how they fill that if they elect to search outside. There's going to be a lot of roster movement over the next couple of days. Maybe there's a guy out there that they're intrigued by. Maybe they just ultimately reward someone on their roster. Ron Harper Jr. has been great. Wendell Moore Jr. has had some loud moments and is a former first-round pick. But I'll be interested to see what happens outside of the Celtics landscape, and is there a guy that's willing to take a two-way slot to stick around in the league? Could be an opportunity for someone to latch on with the Celtics and just put him in the pipeline. And especially if there was big men that were available, it would definitely make you think. Great moment in this game when Joe Mazzulla told Emmanuel quickly to what's my allowed? Can I say STFU? I like Joe's fire, and I like that. Every time they play the Raptors, there seems to be a moment. Remember the Boucher bump, and now telling quickly to be quiet. So the only other thing we will plug, I know we started with bad news about Jaylen. The good news is we're doing a whole Jaylen Brown week. We'll have a Jaylen Brown-centric pod coming up for you at some point in the coming days, but the next 7 days are essentially devoted to Jaylen all over NBC Sports Boston's platform. You can check for our stuff on YouTube, on our air. A chance to celebrate the opportunity in front of Jaylen Brown and pretty much a decade in Boston, and so a lot to look forward to. If you need something on Thursday night, I believe it's FCHPWO. Faith, consistency, hard work pays off. And Jaylen Brown's Boston. It's a fun watch, and like I said, stay tuned. Not only are we going to get you ready for the season, but a lot of Jaylen content coming your way on NBC Sports Boston and here on the pod. It's time to start thinking about real games. So go ahead and go subscribe, go check us out on the YouTube page. Catch you in the regular season.